All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Kitchen EDU monthly webinar, where we bring the most requested educational topics from the shared kitchen community to the shared kitchen community. Kitchen EDU is a department of the Food Corridor. My name is Tyler. I am the Director of Special Projects with the Food Corridor. And if you are not familiar with who we are the #1 shared kitchen management software platform built for the shared kitchen industry. What does that mean?
Yeah.
We help you streamline
Um,
everything from
I don't think they've said anything yet.
from your renters booking your kitchen to automating billing to helping you manage and track onboarding and compliance documents. And what does that look like? Relevant for today's topic, food safety. You can put everything into your documents tab from your kitchen contract for your renters to access whenever they need to tracking um, expiration dates and uploads of all of those important and
I
mandatory
can't hear her.
certifications that your renters need, such as their food safety certifications. Our platform will notify you when they're expiring, when they've been uploaded, and will notify your renters as well to make it easy.
Can't hear her.
We also have a sister website called The Kitchen Door. This is how food businesses find their kitchen spaces. Last year, we merged the Kitchen Door with the Food Corridor and made a platform where all of your leads can be managed and contacted in one space. So you can easily sort and view your leads and reach out to your leads to fill your kitchen. These are some of our resources that we have available for shared kitchens. We have something for every stage of your operation, from beginning to growing your shared kitchen. And we collect national data on shared kitchens as well through our industry surveys. We have a community of practice called the Network for Incubator and Commissary Kitchens on Facebook. Lots of open sharing happening in that group. So if you're on Facebook and you're not in the NIC, join the NIC. I'll send out all these links after the webinar in our recap email, as well as a sign up for a monthly newsletter if you're not getting that. And we host an annual Shared Kitchen Summit. This year, we're going to Providence, Rhode Island, October 12th through 14th. Tickets are on sale now. We are still accepting speaker proposals, so if you have something to share with the community, get those in by April 17th. And we end that summit with our celebration, the Golden Whisk Awards, where we celebrate everything that you all are doing in the industry. Our next EDU webinar will be May 5th. It is an Ask the Operators webinar, so we'll have a few different operators joining us talking about how to build a team, how to train a team, how to grow your kitchen team. But that's enough for me. You are here to talk about food safety. So I'm going to hand it over to Nick Eastwood, the president of Always Food Safe. Nick, take it away.
Afternoon, everybody. Hope you're all well. It's a beautiful day in Colorado today. The sun is out. The sun is out, and short sleeve shirts today. So it's a great day in Colorado. Um, yeah, I'm obviously the president of Always Food Safe. We are a ANSI registered certification provider. Basically, we provide the food handler. Are you advancing the slides, by the way? Sorry, question, or do you want me to? Oh, thank you very much. I'll come on to that afterwards. Yeah, what I want to talk about today is who is always food safe very quickly. I'll talk about the three main challenges in a shared kitchen. Again, I want to kind of broadline that one and then go to the key topics, which to be honest is what you're all interested in. What are the best practice suggestions we have? Okay, who is always food safe company? We are, as I said, an ANSI accredited certification provider. We provide food handler, allergen awareness, and most importantly, certified food protection manager. Completely accepted in every single state in the US. Obviously, it's quite a rigorous process we have to go through to be an accredited supplier. Our main competitor, I hate saying it, but our main competitor is ServSafe. I usually struggle to say that, but where we differ is we are online based. We are not classroom based. We are video based. So what we will do is show good practice, bad practice, and add some humour to the course. We are teaching food safety at a distance, and we have to engage the learner. Most importantly, obviously, to pass the exam, but even more importantly, is to ensure that that knowledge stays relevant and it stays at the forefront of the mind. So that's kind of who we are. Quick slides there, 85,000 businesses, users, 1 million hours of people having to listen to me, poor people. So that's a little bit about our company. If you could kindly press the next slide, I'd be grateful. Yeah, I've been through that. Obviously, food protection manager, allergen. Where we're different, like I said, we're online video based. We don't use PowerPoint or cartoons. We film real situations in real kitchens. For example, washing hands or temperature probing a chicken. We show you how to do it properly. We show you how the mistakes can happen. So it's all about getting that practical knowledge to stick with people, particularly at a distance. As with all digital companies, there is a full management back dashboard behind, so you can look at who's taking the test, who's passed, where they are in the training, when the certificate's renewal, etc. Which is great when a health inspector comes in, because you can literally hit a button and show the compliance within your business. So it saves you having to go and find all the certificates in a drawer somewhere in your desk, because trust me, we see that quite a lot. And a big thing, obviously, customer service department you can talk to. We're about interacting. We don't leave you on your own. We want to speak to you. We want to understand your needs so we can help adapt the training. And if you've got a problem, even if it's a lost password, just phone us. That's what we're here for. Next slide, please. I'm rushing through these to get to the big bits. And I said, obviously, we're approved nationally. The health inspector will accept you wherever. Okay. 3 main food safety challenges in the shared kitchen are, the first one is standards, consistency of standards. What we find is you may have 20, 30 chefs, businesses in a shared kitchen, and you've all maybe got slightly different interpretations of food safety standards. I'm talking about cooking temperatures, cleaning, personal hygiene, exit storage. There's nothing wrong with that. However, it does cause an issue in a shared kitchen where there is a slight difference in how people operate. So that's the bit that I'm kind of going to come on to probably more than anything else. So yeah, first point, upholding standards. The second point is basically said translating certification to practice. Like I said, we're all at different stages in our careers, and said we all have different interpretations of the standards. An interesting thing, and we are finding this is where it's changing, is many people used to train the staff face to face. You talk to them about hand washing, about temperature control, cleaning. But you can get differences in consistency. And what we're seeing more and more companies do now is use one provider, usually online nowadays. So it develops very much a consistency, hard for me to say, of standards and of training. And the beauty of that is, as a manager, you know, if you're going to ask a question someday, hopefully the other 8 people in your operation give you the same answer, so you know what's happening in your business. So that's number 2. That's the second part. And number 3 is cross-contamination. That is the single biggest threat that you'll have in a shared kitchen. And I said about different interpretations of the laws and different interpretations of where you are within your own personal food safety journey over the years. So it's the single biggest threat. And in fairness, it's what a health inspector will probably look at first. That's the bit that they're kind of interested in. How do you stop it? So that's the 3. If you kindly click to the next one, best practices. This is one where I want to spend a little bit of time on all the different best practices that we've got. Okay. The single most effective way is for all the businesses in a shared business to agree on a standard set of best practices. Might sound a simple thing to say, but we see that's usually where there's an issue. And when I'm talking about best practices, like I said, storage, cleaning schedules, temperature control, personal hygiene standards. I've mentioned allergens as well, because obviously that's a vital thing. What we found is best if, for example, there's 10 businesses within your shared kitchen, get them all to meet and get them to agree on a standardized practice. And I know that might sound a silly thing to say, but it's the best way. Agree on a cleaning schedule, who does what and when, agree delivery and storage protocols. For example, an order might come in that's not for your business and they may not be in the kitchen. So, okay, who's going to be responsible? You're not going to leave it there. Who's going to get the food into chilled or frozen within 15-minute guidelines? So it's again making sure that you all kind of sit down and agree and obviously help one another. Agree a uniform policy. That always ends up in an argument for some reason because everybody has different views on what is a uniform and what isn't. What we say is the best thing is obviously we talk about hair covering, we talk about gloves and the use of gloves. Chef's coats, have you got a standardized set of chef's coats? You don't want somebody coming in their ordinary clothes that they may have just travelled to work in, on a bus, on a train, in the car. That's an environment you can't control. Once they get to the kitchen, can you control that by, for example, polo shirts or chef's whites, clean, bright, visible, so you can see any muck. That's such an English said. Any dirt on them. Sorry, I do keep slipping into English from time to time. So, like I said, it's simple things like that, which is where it can go wrong, badly wrong. Also, a sickness policy. There is a legal requirement to notify the business if somebody's sick with one of the notifiable diseases. Again, has a person, for example, got E. coli who's been in the business before you come and you assume your business is correct, but maybe the person before has got a contagious disease, norovirus, for example, as well. So again, agree a uniform policy between all the businesses to right, okay, if somebody's sick, if they've got diarrhea and vomiting, what should they do? Well, obviously they shouldn't come in, they should notify, but not just notify that single business owner, notify the business as a whole, so everybody's aware of it. Again, these are the simple steps, but it's where health inspector usually sees it falling down. I said post easily visible notes in the facility, stick a lot of signs up, cooking temperature, storage, get it into storage within 20 minutes, clean every 4 hours, cleaning after changing tasks, that type of thing. Remind people, because again, the staff that you have may be at different levels. There may be day one or there be day 322. So it's again reminding people of what's the business's requirements as a standard. So that's it. Yeah, okay. So just to kind of reinforce this bit. So set up, arrange maybe a monthly meeting for all the business owners and highlight any areas where one or two of you have noticed a problem. Also where it's running well. Don't forget to reward, say this is working well. One thing we do see as well, and it can, again, gets a little bit contentious, a manager or an owner of a different business may see a practice that they think is causing potential danger, then allow them to be able to jump in. It's not their staff, but when you're all together in the kitchen as a manager, you are technically the person in charge. And it doesn't really matter which business they come from. So, allow people to spot a mistake, not washing hands after changing tasks, for example, and it's somebody from another business. Oh, stop! Can you please go and wash your hands? It's that type of thing which it breeds good food safety. Ensures we say that business owners are at different levels. You may have been in the business 10 or 20 years. It may be your first new idea. You're new to food service. They're the people that need the help more than anybody else. And the experienced managers can help them, just guide them, train them. Yes, they'll have done the training, but on site, personal observation and a quick bit of training, it goes a long way. And most great chefs, they were trained by somebody else who instructed them in these types of training methods as well. So again, just it's working together to help the business. Excuse me. I talk too fast. I do apologise, by the way. I'll try to slow down as much as I can, but that's me. Could you please jump to the next one? Okay. Most common food safety missteps. I'm going to repeat myself quite a lot here. Okay. Cross-contamination, as we said, single biggest threat. Agree very quite strict cleaning schedules. For example, how often do you clean down the prep area? I mean, at the maximum, it should be 4 hours of continuous use. Say, for example, if you're cutting chicken, it's 4 hours. Or when you're changing tasks, it should be immediately. If you're using raw, and then you're now actually going to cook and cook food on the same thing, you should stop there and you should clean immediately. 4 hours is actually quite a long time, and we find a lot of businesses will actually clean after 2 hours, but that's up to you. That's up to you as businesses. If you, for example, are making cookies, 4 hours is fine. If you're actually working with raw food, shellfish, for example, 4 hours is a long time for bacteria to be hard to sit on a preparation table. So again, sit down as businesses, agree what you want, put the notices up, change gloves when you're changing tasks, wash hands, clean, sanitize after 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, depending on what's right for your business. Also, that's bad writing by me. Set up, if you can read that, you're better than I am, a deep clean schedule. What I say by that is things like your cookers, your extraction units, your storage areas. Again, agree who does what. One business is not going to want to clean all the air filters. Guarantee it, nobody wants that job at all, or drag the fridge out to clean behind it. So again, try and get it so the deep cleaning schedule, it's handled by all of them. So business, one, 4, and 6 pulls out the fridges. Business at 2, 2, 5, and 7 clean the filters. So again, it's just arranging it. And when you do that with either a cleaning schedule or a deep clean schedule, agree who's actually going to sign it off at the end. You want somebody to monitor it, say, okay, that's been done, tick, initial next to it. So just making sure that it's kept in everybody's front of mind. Allergens, I've said before, that's a major area of concern. We call it cross-contamination. The correct word is cross-contact for allergen, same thing. But if you've got a business that is producing allergen-free dishes, the simplest and safest way to do it is let them do the allergen work at the start of the day. The establishment will be clean. Hopefully it will be clean. Still suggest you clean down first, again, just to double check, but at the start of the day. Many businesses, again, it depends what the volumes are. Well, for example, set aside Monday. Monday is allergen-free cooking for all the different businesses. And again, it gets them into that mindset and that routine of, right, okay, peanuts are banned, shellfish is banned, etc. from Mondays or in the morning. They can do that. In the course of it, we also, for example, separate utensils, if possible, separate, which are cleaned and stored separately. Have you got separate areas of storage? Can you store allergen, such as peanuts or flour? Can you store it in plastic containers, bottom shelf? And most at-risk products, can you store on top shelf? Don't, because you've got 10 or 11 businesses, you might be putting things into storage in different areas. Again, talk it through, agree it. And if need be, we've seen quite often label the shelving area, peanuts, wheat, pasta, etc., etc. So that's not a bad thing. And it goes back to the point I've been always saying about just sit down and agree and talk. From food safety perspective, in a shared kitchen, allergens is the thing I would be concerned. If I had an allergen business, if I cooked allergen free, sorry, my brain's racing, that would be my biggest concern. And I would probably say, Can I do it Sunday or can I do it Monday at the start of the week? So I kind of, that's the bit that you may have to adapt to suit their needs as well. And like I said, sit down, agree it, and understand. It's easy if you find you're monitoring, you're looking for the risks, and then you're looking, right, okay, that's a risk, take out, that's a risk, take out, that's good practice, keep that in, and work together to get that. So I've talked a long time on that slide, sorry about that. So would you, okay, what I should keep an eye on during walkthroughs. Okay, this is where you as managers earn your money, as they say in England. Monitor, monitor, monitor. That's the one thing I'm going to say to you. You know, you will probably, you know, if you're a small business, you'll be involved in creating product. You know, that's what you're there to do, to create product and sell it. However, from a food safety point of view, is you are the leader of this operation. You know, the buck stops with you. You're in charge. And your probably your key role from that side is you monitor, you look what's happening in the business, you stand back, you view, you observe, you train. You know, somebody's washing their hands, it's taking 3 seconds, kind of just doing that. Well, then stop. This is a proper hand wash, and this is what you do, and you train. And then what you encourage, you look for, and you encourage your staff is what we call corrective action. If something's going repeatedly wrong, then it's an issue. So it's for you to kind of monitor it, pick it up, but then most importantly, train your staff so the corrective action doesn't need, you get rid of the issue. Um, so like I said, monitor, monitor, monitor. And interestingly, in all food, well, in all walks of life, if the staff know you're monitoring and observing, it's amazing how well they increase the standards because they know the boss is watching. And it's just, you are constantly re-emphasizing good practice, good practice. A good idea as well, again, depending on your business, how they fit in, you know, have weekly team briefings. And if, for example, it's a different business day, then at the end of that day, as a business, sit down and go, that's worked really well. Such and such has had a really good idea on hand washing or where to store chemicals or pest control. Demonstrate good practice and what's happened with that's jumped as well. And again, I said hand washing there. You know, get one of the members of staff say, right, can you please wash your hands in front of everybody? Yeah, great. Or could have done that better. So just repeat, repeat, repeat. Like I said, it's like anything else. It's you monitor it, you lead it, you look for the problems, the danger points, and then you correct it with training, and then team brief to remind people of good practice and bad practice. Also, as well, it's worth saying as well, you know, if you've got 10 businesses, you know, two may go and two new ones may come in, start it again. You know, you'll never have a completely perfect food safety system. It will change as new businesses come in, new businesses, old businesses leave. So again, it's understanding that and how you can communicate with one another. And breathe. Sorry, go on to kind of next slide, please. Okay, this is worth bringing up because I know I saw it mentioned in the email. What is the difference between a food manager certification and a food handler certification? Could you kindly flip to the next page because I can't remember what I've written. Thank you. Sorry. Okay, food handler. That's your basic. That's anybody in the kitchen who is handling food in any way, shape, or form. Um, it's a minimum basic training. So we talk about cleaning, temperature control, storage, personal hygiene, pest control, and it's usually about a 2 hour course. It is mandatory in certain states. It's not mandatory in all states. However, the training is mandatory in all states. You know, health inspectors want to see staff who understand the basics. Food manager course, it's basically the same course, but then you really dive into it. It's 8 hours of your life. The good thing about videos, you don't have to do the 8 hours in one go, but it looks at what I've just mentioned and then starts to dig into it and what you as a manager, first of all, understand what the problem is and then how you monitor it, how you train, how you correct. So it very much looks into that. And there's some pretty good bits in fairness, in all the training courses out there. Is right, you're new to management, this is what you should do. You're more established in management, this is what you should do. So again, the good reminders of how to keep food safety going. What it will also do is it will jump into, there'll be a full chat, a good hour will be spent on HACCP and food safety management systems, which is kind of what we've been talking about. It's the monitoring of food safety, the training, the verification, the corrective actions. In certain states, it's a big country, all these states change a little bit, but there is usually a requirement for a food safety management system, which is what I'll be talking. It's a set of forms and documents required really to keep a health inspector happy and make sure you are doing the job properly. Obviously, all based on HACCP. Very quickly, because you probably already know it already, it's hazard analysis. You're finding the hazard, and CCP is your critical control points. What are you doing now you found the hazards to reduce them to an acceptable or safe level? That's what this is all about, and that's kind of what we've been talking about. So that's the two differences. Food handler is great for everybody in your business. Manager depends on the size of your business. It's good to have two or three in your business because if you think about it, not everybody's in every day. You've got holidays, sick leave, etc., etc. And in many states, they require a PIC. That's a person in charge. So there must be somebody at manager level in that business at all times. So again, it covers if you're working 24/7, Saturdays, Sundays, etc. So just think through your own business. You know, you're not going to be there 7 days a week, 52 weeks a year, So is it worth having two people at manager level? Is it worth having three people at manager level? So it's kind of worth thinking it through. So that's the difference on that. If you could kindly press the button, I'll be grateful. Okay, this is a point I'll recommend more than anything else when employing new staff, and it doesn't matter whether it's food handler or manager training, train them immediately, literally day one. Most states allow you between 7 and 30 days to train people. What we find is most food safety outbreaks are from new, untrained staff. It's not your experienced chefs. It's not people who've been in the business for 5 years or 10 years who understand food safety and probably have had a course two or three times. It's the people who come in new, might be college graduates, they're at university, then there's part-time. You bring them in, you don't train because, well, they're only going to be here for 2 or 3 weeks. That's when it goes horribly wrong. And that's when most health inspectors will look at that as a weak point. It's not the fact that they're doing anything deliberately wrong. It's just they've not been taught basic food hygiene. I said washing hands, personal hygiene, etc. So it's something we strongly suggest to everybody: get them trained the day before they start if you can. Beauty of online courses, you can actually send it to them before they start. They can do it the weekend before they come into the office. So it's one thing I would say. Yeah, the only other thing I would say is consistent messaging. We do see where a business adopts the same course, so whether it's us, Serve Safe, Step, etc., you get a far better adherence to it because everybody's listening to the same thing and repeatedly listening to the same thing. So we do recommend that. Excuse me. And also we had, like I said, we've talked about weekly, daily, and monthly reminder training. Just a quick, okay, is everybody still, can everybody tell me what the temperature danger zone is? Simple questions. And if you know that they can answer that correctly, you know that they're listening and food safety is sticking in them. So again, it's the basics. Don't drown people. We understand that completely, but temperature control, cooking temperatures, cleaning schedules, deep cleaning schedules, it's the basics. And sorry, storage as well, 5. So just keep reminding them of that. It's a constant process. Okay, health inspectors, don't panic. Don't panic, don't panic, don't panic. We have been in businesses. We were actually filming in a business, and a health inspector walked through the door, and the chef ran out of the back door. We were like, where's he gone? He panicked. We've seen people hiding at the pantry when a health inspector comes in. Don't just remember they're there to help you. That's the big thing that we always say with health inspectors. You know, the statements can, sorry, the other one, the requirements can change state by state, and they do. There is slight, but basic food safety standards is the same across the country. In fact, it's the same across the world. Like I said, we break it down to temperature control, personal hygiene, etc. From a health inspector's perspective, when he comes into a shared, or he or she comes into a shared kitchen, they're going to look at the danger points, where it can fail. Is there somebody knowledgeable in charge managing it? Is there, I think it is, yeah. Sorry to answer that question. Is there somebody in charge? Is there somebody monitoring the business? Yes. Is the danger points cross-contamination? Probably is. Have you identified where it can go wrong? Raw to cooked, allergen to non-allergen food. Yes, we've sorted that out. That's what they're going to look for. They may pick up one or two minor things that's really irrelevant. They might say, you need to wash your hands every 30 minutes. And you say, well, an hour's good enough, fine. But they're looking for where it could potentially go wrong. And it's usually, like I said to you, storage, prep time. You don't want a piece of chicken sat on a stainless steel worktop in a hot kitchen for 4 hours. Those are the things that they're going to be looked for. One thing we do say, like I said, don't panic. They're not the enemy. Agree with yourselves what your standard operating procedures are. Like we said, sit down and agree it. Then come and invite them to come in. Bring them into your business. Actively say, can you please come and look at our business? They'll go, whoa, okay, right. Somebody who wants to work with us. And it's amazing how their attitude will look, because they will actually come into your business, and it might be just one of the owners, it might be several. Look, this is what we've agreed as a total business across everybody. This is his plan. This is what we want to do. This is where we see a danger point, and this is what we're prepared to do to stop it. And they'll go, yeah, superb. Because you're thinking about the food safety, you're thinking about, where it can go wrong. And they may say, well, actually, do you mind changing that to that? Yeah, absolutely. You're the experts. You talk to them. Once you start doing that and you build a strong relationship with a health inspector, it's a far more harmonious thing. You don't want them calling at 3 p.m. on a Friday afternoon because you've been awful to them. You don't want it, just as you're starting at the end of the day. You want them to come in and sit down and say, okay, great, you've done that, but can you prove that you're doing it? Temperature checklist, you name it. Yes, I can. Cleaning schedules. Yes, I can prove it. Excuse me. That's what they're loving to see. So again, it's where it's. I have a personal fear of IRS and tax collectors. They make me. I start sweating as soon as I see them, but I shouldn't. I should actually sit down and work with them. Same with the health inspector. That's all I'm saying. Be their friend. That's that one done. That's my lecture over. Sorry. Okay. I think we're getting to the last couple of slides here. Practical tools. Excuse me. If you could kindly press the next button, please. I'd be grateful. Okay. Like I said, cleaning schedules, deep cleaning schedules, cooking temperatures, storage instructions, personal hygiene, staff sickness, all these forms we can provide to you. You don't even have to buy a course. We've got them all there for you. And I'm sure the food corridor's got a lot of these forms. Anyway, the big thing is agree on them. Don't overcomplicate the business is one thing we say. Keep it simple. But agree on maybe 5 or 6 of the key points and kind of agree and stick to it. That's the one thing we say. Another thing I kind of wanted to bring in is digital temperature monitoring and digital checklists. We are seeing a lot more businesses adopt, remote temperature control monitors on the fridges and freezers, tasks coming up on employees' phones to say you need to clean, or the fridge door's open, please go and look. And we are seeing that insofar as the FDA, as we write in the new food code, are changing the training to make sure people understand, what does an automatic temperature monitoring machine do? how's the checklist? So we are seeing this more and more. So I'm not trying to sell you anything. Don't panic about that stage. But what I'm saying is just have a look at what's out there, and you'll be surprised. It can take a lot of the menial tasks away. And again, a health inspector's very impressed. We often see a temperature cooking checklist, and it's the same handwriting in the same pen for about 7 days, and they don't believe you. They're like, okay, so it never went out to temperature once, or somebody with a different pen. So again, the beauty of digital systems is you can prove it. It's there. It's you cannot alter it. And as well, these things alarm if your fridge goes out of temperature. There could be hundreds of thousands of dollars of stock in a fridge, and you don't want that breaking in the middle of the night, going down, the food, and what do you do? There's a lot of waste there. So again, it's just something to kind of to throw out to you. But the big thing is, agree on what you're going to monitor, and then monitor it. That's the key thing, and then inform a health inspector. That's my third lecture for the day. I do apologise for all these lectures. I get very passionate about food safety. Sorry. And I think, yeah, ta-da, you all survived. You passed the test, and you'll get an exam at the end to say how well I've done. Joking.
Thank you so much, Nick. So I'm going to stop sharing so we can all see each other. And we have a good amount of time now, just over 20 minutes for you to ask your questions and take advantage of Nick being here as a resource and an expert in the field. So if you could raise your hand if you have a question, and if you're not sure how to raise your hand, if you go to the react button at the bottom of your screen, it's the little heart. There's, let's see, you just press the heart and you can raise your hand, and we will just answer the questions in the order that the hands are raised. And I do ask that if you have a question, please turn on your video so we can see your face as you're asking the question. So have at it. Raise those hands. Remember to take yourself off mute. If you can't figure out how to raise your hand and you just want to come off mute, that's fine too. I know y'all have questions. You've been asking for the session forever. Y'all are quiet today.
Sorry, did I see?
Oh.
Sorry.
Robert, go for it.
So somebody mentioned a kosher certified establishment. Yeah, I suppose the question I'd ask to you is what other businesses are you sharing with? There are certain, obviously, rules and requirements with regards to kosher food, as there are, in fairness, with any food from halal. Sorry, go on, April.
April, if you're talking, we can't hear you. Maybe put it in the chat. Okay. Well, oh, April's rejoining from another device. Technical difficulties. All right, April, are you here now?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
I can indeed. Hi,
Okay.
April.
How are you? How are you?
Good, thank you. Are you?
I'm good. So I created so first I'm a baker, but I'm a manufacturer of baked goods. So we have GMP compliances, and we also have kosher certification. We are dairy. And I started a kitchen incubator for bakers to help them scale. It's called the Mixing Bowl in Baltimore. I have not taken my first client yet, our first ones yet, because we're trying to play around with them. How do we ensure kosher certification stays? Because as you know, every ingredient coming into the facility has to be kosher certified. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I can tell you what we're doing, and you can tell me if this makes sense. So at intake, we're asking, before anyone is accepted, they have to submit a list of all of their ingredients. along
Yeah.
the picture so that we could see the actual kosher certification icon or the actual ingredients. And we're also thinking about having our rabbi come and also just take a look at their ingredients as well. I think the issue is making sure that we have SOPs in place because chefs are chefs. So they may have all of these ingredients when it comes to substitution of ingredients or them just playing around in the kitchen for R&D. So we're playing around with how do we
Yeah.
ensure that the entire facility stays kosher without violating the rules?
Wow, that's a tough question to start
I
with. Thanks for
know.
that. Yeah, okay. And you are the owner of the kitchen, sorry. It's your kitchen. Okay. Right. There are, like you said, there are specific requirements for kosher, and it's worth checking with the health inspector. What's the percentage of non-kosher food you can actually ingredients are they actually allowed into your business?
There's zero, so everything is 100% kosher. Now, keep in mind, 99% of the food products on the market are kosher,
True.
right? But it comes to like gelatins and just making sure that there's no meat in the facility, not having them eat their private lunches in the facility, and those types of things. Because if someone messes up, that could cause the entire facility to be shut down, and then we have to go through the kosherization process that could be costly. Yeah.
Yeah, from your perspective, that like I said, obviously the management and verification, they need to prove that, if they want to come into your business, you're probably going to have to sit down and interview them, for want of a better word, and look at what products that they're looking at, and proving you will have a list of kosher raw ingredients that you can work with. Can they adapt their recipe to match that ingredient that you're using? And to be honest, you need to be quite strict and say, look, it's got to be 100% kosher. The cost, I agree, the cost of getting it recertified is high, and it's a pain for you to do. There's a lot of work to go through. So, they need to be aware, and I would suggest signing contracts to say we agree that we will use these ingredients, we won't use non-kosher ingredients, and then I'm not sure how close you are to facility, but check it on a regular basis. Check the stock, check the storage, what's coming into the business. You can even check their invoices if required, because it's your business, you're allowed to do that. So yeah, it's really established a very strict process. And in fairness, if they don't want to do it, they probably go somewhere else. They probably use somebody else's business to do it. And I know that sounds awful, but it's not a bad thing to maintain that. When it comes to product development days, that's interesting, because you can be bringing in 1,000 different ingredients to try. So I'd maybe speak to the health inspector can't really help you on that. Maybe speak to a rabbi on that and say, look, okay, can we do Sunday mornings? Can it be product develop? They bring ingredients in, they cook, develop, and then take ingredients out again. So it's in and out within, say, a 2 or 4 hour period. So they're not left in your establishment as well. So you don't want to find something 3 days later going, oops,
Oh God. Yeah.
So, but yeah, again, it's agreeing what's the quietest day of the week to do that, or is it one half a day a month? Agree a strict time and say, right, okay, this is development day. This is when we're going to do things that are maybe non-kosher to start with. But again, it goes back to, like you said, there's a lot of raw ingredients. They can swap the ingredient anywhere. If you're developing something from scratch, I'm trying to think of a new cookie, there's nothing wrong. Excuse me. There's nothing wrong with them saying, okay, well, these are the ingredients. We've already got these ingredients in.
Yeah.
So with them. So yeah, I think from my point of view, it's the management of it, the monitoring of it, and the verification that they're not doing something wrong. Sorry.
So one of the things that I've decided to do, and I don't know if anybody else has this issue, but I live in the intersection of food and food law. I happen to be a lawyer. I didn't even we're only using license agreements so that we're not locking people into long-term contracts just in case they do violate the kosher laws, because there's a kosher product match for everything, obviously. But it's the oops, I made a mistake type of issues that cost us $6,000 every time there's an oops. And one of the issues that I was thinking is that doing a higher deposit, because having the kosher certification on your product is a good thing for the market, and you get kind of preferential treatment. I was just thinking that to charge them like a full kosherization fee as their deposit.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Just
That's
hold
not
that.
bad. Because I mean,
Yeah,
I would suggest your insurance will be quite higher as well, won't it? But,
yeah, absolutely. For recalls.
yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah,
Thank
exactly.
you.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, it's not. Well, I must
Thank you.
remember never to argue with April. She's a lawyer as well, so I'm not going to say.
That's it. Thank you, Nick. I appreciate it.
Pleasure,
Great
pleasure.
question, April. Zoe, you have your hand up.
Let me put my hand down now. Thank you. My name is Zoe Stone, and we have a shared kitchen located in Wichita, Kansas. And I just had some questions, and anyone in the group can feel free to jump in on this. We have different like dietary restrictions that different caterers or bakers offer. How are you guys like, do you zone certain areas that are just gluten-free when it comes to, because we are a shared kitchen, we have shared utensils, but we like, for me personally, if I'm doing something that's gluten-free, I have a set of utensils I just keep personally in my locker. So I wanted to know what you guys' best tips and tricks or best practices were for that. And then like if you guys had any like color coordination for like just standard, if someone just, fresh off the street just came in, they're on board, they know red is for meat or, white is for vegetables or.
Great
Do
question.
you want me to?
Nick, yeah, if you want to address it,
Okay.
we can see if anyone else has any tips from their operations, or feel free to put your tips in the chat too.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Brilliant. Okay. Zoe, how big's your kitchen? Probably first question I need to ask. She's run off already. Is it something I said? Um, sorry, Zoe, I'm just joking with you.
Sorry, someone came to the door. You said, how big is our facility?
Yeah,
I want to say, I believe it's 5,000 square feet. We are comfortably able to host up to 8 at a time, not being in the kitchen, but 8 businesses using our
yeah,
kitchen. I would say 4 at one time, but typically it's usually one person in there at a time, 1 to 2.
yeah. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I'm just wondering. You said about creating separate zones. Absolutely. If you can do it, superb. That is definitely something you could do. Again, that's why I asked on your size of your kitchen. You can have a separate, you know, gluten-free area for prep. Which is brilliant if you can do that. And again, with these storage, as I mentioned, if you can separate what we would class as high risk products away, that's superb as well. Yes, it's one thing we do recommend is with cooking utensils, especially have a completely separate set. So have a set, so knives, forks, tongs, baking trays, even anything like that. Have it as a separate set, and then basically it's stored separately. Usually, like if you can get the plastic big storage buckets, keep them in there. Clean them, obviously clean them at end of use, and clean them again before use, just to make sure there's no cross contact. Excuse me, and make sure everybody's aware of that. Your cleaning schedule, let's say if you've got four businesses at different stages, you know, as you jump in between the two, a very strict cleaning schedule. So obviously I've talked about worktops, but also look at other areas, the handles on your fridges and freezers. Where is the most human contact in the chain, and where can it break down? Excuse me. So a cleaning schedule will include worktops, fridge, freezers, utensils, baking trays, cooking trays, separate temperature thermometers. Again, the risk of cross-contamination with a temperature probe is quite high. So again, wherever you can, you separate the utensils completely and make sure people don't mix them up. Trust me, it happens all the time. Do that. And again, with regards,
Go
sorry,
ahead. I'm sorry.
no, you first. You're the boss.
So Well, thank you for your expertise. Well, everyone has their own refrigerator, everyone has their own locker. So you don't
Yeah,
have to use the shared utensils,
right.
it's just available. So
Yeah.
are you saying that we should offer those like maybe to everyone and like just have like a gluten-free bucket of utensils? Or should we just have that shared practice that if that's something that you're wanting to offer for your business, then you need to have that separately because the ones that we use communicatively
Yeah,
are not, we're not able to guarantee that they're
yeah,
safe
yeah.
or in compliance.
Yeah, personally, I would do that. Also, sorry, also as well, you like you said, you talked about separate storage, separate refrigerators, for example. It is it's a common mistake. They walk to the wrong refrigerator and touch it. So again, most outbreaks are you don't think, you just do. It's not a deliberate act. It's an act where you forget. If I'm being honest, so make sure you've got your separate units, which is superb, your refrigerators in the cleaning schedule, all four or all eight are cleaned, handles are
Yeah,
cleaned.
we have
So,
a professional staff come through once a week, but we
oh,
do try to make sure but
yeah,
it needs to look the same as
yeah,
when you came in. So if it was clean before you came in, it's
yeah,
it's the same as you
yeah,
leave. So thank you
yeah.
so much. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Great
Oh,
question.
sorry, different coloured chopping boards. Yes. Yes, sorry. Yeah, that was the second part of your question. Different coloured knives and different coloured chopping boards. Yes, you've got red, white, green, blue, etc. And you can get the signs up so people know that red is meat, red is raw. Sorry, I got that wrong. I got that wrong already. I was supposed to be in food safety. But yeah, it literally have things saying what the different colours denote.
Okay.
I have a piece of advice. I'm not quite sure if you guys can hear me.
Mm-hmm.
So it's two things. The first thing that I think of is liability for the actual facility and the owner, whoever owns the facility, whether it's government owned, nonprofit owned, et cetera. I would advise my clients to not put anything in there that would guarantee anything that would say that gluten free, that you are a gluten free facility, or you offer gluten free baking or cooking. Because if someone is to get sick, then they're relying on your reliance and your cleaning processes in order to bake or cook gluten free. Secondly, I would say that if you guys have separate refrigerators, I think it's totally up to the person that is cooking to follow gluten-free protocols, and it should be found in their SOPs. You can have underlying SOPs in order to support them, but I would never, ever, ever even tell them that these are shared utensils. They would have to bring their own. And there's a whole cleaning protocol that goes with people who are gluten-free, and it takes about 30 minutes before they can get started, but they understand that that's just part of their prep. I'm not sure if that helps you at all.
It does. Thank you so much.
For sure.
That's a great tip. All right, who else has questions? We still have some time. Just take yourself off mute. I know y'all are thinking about this. Everyone's got perfect cleaning lists and protocols, right? No problems.
That's what a question for me. What is the biggest issue that you'll find? What is it cross-contamination? Is that the biggest issue you have?
I would say for me, just the standard of cleanliness. I went from
Right,
being
yeah,
a user of the shared kitchen to now helping to operate that. So what my standard may not be the same as my other, users. So being able to make sure
yeah,
I'm a clean as you go type of person. Some
yeah,
people don't like to clean until they're done, or,
yeah,
we're rushing, things happen. So I like to get everything clean. You might be okay with a little baked on grease, So just being
yeah,
able to have that standard has been the most difficult thing, and remaining professional about it.
Mhm.
yeah, yeah.
'Cause
No, I
sometimes people
mean,
get offended.
yeah. So what you said there, yeah, clean as you go, is absolutely 100% correct. We in all training programs, we always say don't assume somebody else has cleaned. You clean as you go, and you do it on a regular and consistent basis. I think with that, like I've mentioned, agree between the four or eight businesses a standard set of practices. So, I said the cleaning times before, after, excuse me. And I know obviously you've got a professional cleaner coming in once a week, but the kitchen, they should be cleaning, at least 5 times that week, probably 10 or 20 times. So,
Yeah,
just
every yes, for sure.
Yeah. So, yeah, like I say, it's the one thing we see from health. The feedback is always from health inspectors. Somebody's doing it, 8 businesses, 7 are doing it superb. It's the one in the middle that's may not necessarily be. And obviously, I know that's your job to kind of monitor and advise. But the more everybody speaks and gets used to one another and the different practices, the more they start to kind of work as one. I think that's the hard bit. A team of chefs in a restaurant, you know what it's like. Once they all start working, it clicks and they work together. And it's exactly the same with food safety. Just keep reminding. If anybody's got children, how many times do you tell them to clean their hands, wash their hands? 58,000 times before one actually might do it. So, it's just like that. I'm not saying all your caterers, by the way, are small children. I didn't mean that. I'm just saying, just keep pushing them.
Thank you.
Pleasure. Okay, another question. Does anybody have a great relationship with the health inspector?
Mm. Zoe, you do? Anyone else?
We have her like on speed dial. If we have questions, because we do license multiple different types of food businesses. I mean, she's on it. And for the most part, our health department kind of gives us the opportunity. If there is a violation, they give us the opportunity to correct it. And she's so helpful on the questions that we have. We haven't had any violations. So
Good. I know. I preached on about it, but the better you get to know them, you'll get that good relationship, and that's the best thing. Yes, they come and go. The new ones, the new fresh out of university are the worst ones because they're like, I've got to get my fines, and it's like no, and the older ones are a little bit more mature and they've seen it before. So, but yeah, it doesn't matter what stage they're at in their careers, and they've got a tough job. They may have 7 or 10,000 businesses in some of the big cities to look after. So it's a tough job. And I think we always say with health inspectors, if you get them on your side, get them working with you, they're going to want to spend more time going to the businesses that they know have got an issue. You're okay. You're doing well. You're 80%. We're happy. I'm going to go to the restaurant down the road where I know there's been 6 food poisoning outbreaks this year. That's kind of like I said about the IRS. You don't want them in that off. Get them in, please them, and get them out of your business as quick as you can. I always say that. Shouldn't say that, should I?
One thing that we did this year that I think seemed to work pretty well is we had a webinar in the winter and we invited 2 different health inspectors to come on and a bunch of entrepreneurs joined. And so they each did like 10-minute presentations, but then folks were able to ask them questions after. And a bunch of the entrepreneurs said like, whoa, I was pretty scared of them, but like they're just humans as it turns out kind of thing. So it was really helpful. And I thought they wouldn't agree because it was an evening webinar. But I think they were actually kind of relieved to be asked because I think they would in our area like to do a little bit more education, but they are just slammed with inspections and always on the road. But they liked being able to meet, 20 people all at once, basically, and that was handy.
Yeah. No, I like your flowers, by the way. I like your flowers behind. That's a great picture. Can I just tell you that now? Yeah, no, it's again the human beings. They do want to work with you. They do want to develop a relationship with you, and they've got a tough job. It is a tough job. We've spent time in different cities working with health inspectors, and I'd never do the job. What a tough job it is. No thanks. So it's the key always to remember is they are there to protect public safety. That's what the job is, to make sure that the food that is served to the human being paying for it is not going to poison them. And I know I'm getting it down to the basics, but it's true. The job is to protect. So the webinars, that's a great idea. And get if you can get more than one health inspector, great. That's really good. That's a really good thing to do. So,
Yeah. And at the end of the day, you're working towards the same goal, right? Producing safe food for the public.
that's
So,
it.
yeah. Well, Nick, we're about at time. We have 1 more minute. I'm going to launch a quick poll before you all sign off. If you could just please answer these 3 questions, it helps us make sure that we're continuing to put out the content that you all are looking for. So thank you, Nick, for joining
Pleasure.
us today and sharing all of your expertise with us. And we'll see you all on May 5th for our next webinar. And I'll send this recording out with all of the links to Always Food Safe after the recording is done. So thank you all for joining.
If you've any questions afterwards, just please drop us an email through the link. We're happy to answer any questions you've got as well.
Thank you.